Hi, my friend. Are you asking yourself, should I write a book? If you are not alone. Over 80% of respondents to a recent survey said that they feel like they have a book in them that they would love to get into the world. I want to talk to you today about some of the ins and outs and specifically the 4 different types of authors that I see in the world. And you can decide if you are one of these types of authors and you're ready to put your book into the world. My name's Kelly Notaras. I'm the founder of KN Literary Arts. We are a one-stop book studio taking you from helping craft your idea all the way to having a book in your hand. Please visit us at knliterary.com and don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. I bring all of my 21 years of book editing experience here to you for free. So be sure to click the little bell icon and that way you'll never miss a video. All right, so today we're talking about whether or not you should write a book. The fact is that there are 4 different reasons, 4 different types of authors that I find really feel successful and satisfied from writing a book. Okay, and I want to talk to you about each of those types because a lot of times people think they are the first type, but they're actually not, and that's okay. The first type is what I call the entrepreneur or the authorpreneur. Okay, so this is someone who wants to sell a ton of copies. That's actually the motivation. When they think, should I write a book? They're thinking, can I actually leave my job and become a well-known author? Can I make money off of book sales? Can I parlay my book into speaking engagements that pay me or into coaching packages one-on-one with clients, etc.? They're people who want to make money off their book. Now you might think, well, doesn't every author want to make money off their book? Sure, I'm sure that they do. But for the authorpreneur or the entrepreneur, this is your number one goal. If you don't think you're going to make money from this, you're probably not going to do it. It's really a matter of trying to find maybe a side hustle that will eventually get you out of your 9-to-5 job, or you're someone who has always dreamed of being, writing book after book after book, and that's how you want to make your living. If that's you, you really are the authorpreneur or the entrepreneur, okay? Now, what I'll say about this is that it is one of the tougher of these 4 types because to make money off your book, you have to have a ton of readers, right? You've got to be able to sell a lot of copies of your book. And contrary to popular belief, traditional publishers are not actually very good at selling your book. These days, with the advent of the internet and people expecting to be in relationship with the authors that they're reading, they actually want to hear from you. So you don't get to just sit back and put your feet up on your desk once you've written your book. If you're the entrepreneur, and you want to make money off of your book, you have to see it as a small business that you are launching. You need to really think through, am I willing to put the time and effort into building an audience, into reaching out into the world, teaching classes, doing social media, doing an email newsletter every week, doing a YouTube channel or a podcast to start generating the interest in and the notoriety for my book so that people will come back and buy it and I can make that money that I want to do. Okay. So if you do not really feel like you're someone who wants to launch a new business, you're probably not the authorpreneur. Okay. And maybe you'll know at that point, hey, if it's not going to be easy to make a ton of money off my book, which it's not, I'm sorry guys, it's not, I don't want to do it. Fabulous. You just saved yourself a lot of time and effort. Perfect. You can put that creative energy into something else that feels more aligned with your goals. Okay. But if you're like, no, I really, really want to try this. I'm ready to get out there. I actually love being on YouTube, or I love giving talks or doing podcasts. Fabulous. You might be the authorpreneur. And if that's the case, I do think you should write a book. That's my personal take. I actually think that it's something that's it's super fun. It can be a really juicy project to sink your teeth into, and it can be something that you can be really proud of and you can put a lot of time and energy into. It takes 10 years to become an overnight success, no matter what the business is that you're in. Writing a book this year is not going to make you number 1 on the New York Times list next year. I'm sorry, it's just the truth. You're going to need to put in that time and energy. But wow, what an amazing gift you give yourself. If you're willing to stick with something that you care about, that really means something to you, you will get so much benefit out of doing it, even if ultimately you don't hit the New York Times list or you aren't able to quit your day job. You tried. It's like that saying, if you shoot for the moon, the worst that can happen is you land among the stars. So if you are that authorpreneur, I say go for it. Okay, I want to move on to the second type of author. This type of author usually is like, ooh, I don't want to actually put myself out there, or I was hoping a publishing company would come in and like take me to the ball and not actually have to do much work beyond writing a great book. If that's the case, you're probably the artist. Your goal is to self-express. You want to create something beautiful. You want to tell a story that's from your childhood or something that you've is, alive in your mind that you've created. You're doing it for your art. I have to tell you, the folks I know who write a book for their art are some of the happiest authors I know. They're not expecting necessarily to sell 1 million copies of their book. If they do, fabulous. But they're writing it because that's what their heart is calling them toward. If you're a first-time author and you have a creative flow inside of you that wants to be expressed in words on the page, yes, you should write a book. It is a great way to do that. Even just taking a few steps toward it can actually open up whole worlds for you. So keep going if you are that artist. Even if you don't want to build it as a business, you can self-publish it. You can feel proud of it, hand it off to your children, your colleagues, people you know. It's a creative endeavor. Even if it doesn't get this sort of like mass accolades, it's still worth doing for your own self, your own artistic expression. So I highly encourage you, if you're the artist, to go for it. Okay, so we've got the entrepreneur, we've got the artist. Now we are moving on to one that's a little harder, but you'll know yourself in this if it's you. You're the survivor. So I work every day with authors who are writing memoir, and they are a survivor of something really difficult. Maybe it was the loss of a loved one, or a disease that they went through, or a difficult childhood. There's some way in which to fully complete the cycle of that difficult story, they know they need to write it down. And they hope that they might actually help other people. But the main real concern is, I need to get this out of my body and onto the page. It's something that I don't want to have to live with anymore. And so I'm going to put it on the page and get some distance from it. I have to tell you, it is one of the greatest healings I've ever seen. I see so many authors, they're first-time authors, they are a survivor. They write this story. They may publish it, they may not. But what happens is they get liberated from it. They get freed and something new can come in. Maybe it's another book. Maybe it's a book that genuinely is focused on the reader, right? Where instead of telling my story, I'm actually talking to you about how you can overcome these similar things in your life. But the first story, what I call the book before the book, was that survivor story. It had to get out. So for those of you who are resonating with what I'm saying, please do take the time to start writing your story down. You will get so much out of it, whether or not you publish it. It's not about making money off of it. And honestly, even though there's this sort of altruistic thing that we like to say, like, oh, it's about helping other people, truly, you are going to be the one who's helped the most. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the most important, okay? So if you're a survivor, yes, you should write a book. Okay, and what's the final type of author I want to talk about? It's the teacher. Now, I want to say really carefully, a lot of people who are entrepreneurs, who are artists, and who are survivors believe that they are a teacher. But the fact is that I think the teacher is the most rare type of author. This is someone who's going to teach this content in some form no matter what. They're teaching it all the time. They're talking to people about it all the time. They are, maybe working one-on-one with clients, or they're just talking to their friends about it. They have something they're passionate about, so passionate, they want other people to get the benefit of it because they themselves got so much out of it. So you might be part teacher and part survivor. You might be part teacher and part entrepreneur. But the person who's really the teacher, they are going to be teaching this whether they write it as a book or not. And I always say, why not write it as a book? It's a great way you can hand off that teaching that you have that's burning a hole in your heart that you want to give the world. You can put it in book form. I will say that teachers are often, in my experience, not great entrepreneurs. So the book does not necessarily catapult to some sort of large public renown because they're really about teaching the content, and getting it on the page is the most important thing to them. Once it comes to the extra work that has to be done to sell the copies of the book, it's a little harder for them. So I just wanted to name that, just in case that's you, that if what you want really, you can ask yourself, is it really that I just want to get this on the page? And even if just 2 people get something out of it, that is good enough for me, then you might be the teacher. If you're like, oh, no, I don't want to take the time, effort, and energy to create this book unless I know it's going to reach a lot of people, you're probably more of that entrepreneur type. And you need to make sure you're up for the game of it, because it is a big game to get your book in the world. There's a lot of launching, there's a lot of financial investment, there's just a lot that goes into it. So I wanted to just say all of that to you, that honestly, if there is a book dream in your heart, I always say follow that impulse. That is life teaching you something. It may be that's life teaching you how to get a book into the world and help a lot of people, but it might be that that's life teaching you how to express yourself, how to actually achieve a big goal that you've been wanting to achieve, to teach yourself the confidence, to let yourself know you can do it. No matter what the reason why you're doing it, I think it's important. So I wish you the best of luck, and I hope that if we can help you in any way, you'll visit us at knliterary.com.